Welcome to Just a Minute. Hello, my name is Nicholas Parsons. And as the minute waltz fades away, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to this special edition of Just a Minute from BBC Television Centre. We found our way onto your television screens to celebrate the 45th year of Radio Triumph. So without further ado, please welcome to the show the four talented, exceptional performers who this day are going to play Just a Minute. And they are seated on my right, Paul Merton and Lisa Tarbuck, and seated on my left, Miles Jupp and Giles Brandreth. Please welcome all four of them. The players will try to speak for just a minute on a subject that I give them, and they will try and do that without hesitation, repetition or deviation. The other three panellists can challenge at any time, and if I uphold the challenge, they gain a point and take over the subject. If not, the person speaking gains a point and continues with the subject. And by the way, they can repeat the subject which is on the card in front of me. Paul, the subject here is double act. I know you love the music hall and everything about that, but can you tell us something about that subject in this game? 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
I think one of my proudest nights in show business occurred here at the Television Centre perhaps 2 years ago, when I was very lucky to present a programme about Morecambe and Wise, who are undoubtedly for many of us the greatest double act that ever lived. And the audience's appreciation of Eric and Ernie that night was phenomenal. As I said the goodbyes at the end of the show, they rose as one and clapped and applauded, and the warmth of that particular noise they were making was clearly not for me, but it was for the two M&W people I mentioned earlier. They were...
Giles is challenged.
A repetition of two.
Yes, there's two there, you know. Oh.
We haunted.
No, you struggle so well to change and find different words to express the same thing. So, Giles, it was 32 seconds, so with the 28 seconds left, you have a correct challenge. You gain a point for that, of course. Double acts starting now.
I'm turning my mind to romantic double acts, thinking of Abelard and Eloise, Romeo, Juliet, Antony, Cleopatra, Andy Pandy, Looby Loo, and more recently, Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. The erotic charge, when characters like this come together and consummate their union, make something of a double act.
A cool challenge.
Are you saying Andy Pandy and Looby Loo consummating a union?
Oh, yes.
What's Teddy doing round the back, making a cup of tea? What's going on?
Teddy took the photographs. That's how I know.
Scandal.
I think in the literal interpretation of the words he was using, you are perfectly correct, Paul.
Yes.
So, a correct challenge, and you have 12 seconds still on double acts starting now.
David Cameron and the leader of the Liberal Party, whose name nobody can remember, are currently forming a double act which is known as the Coalition, which is running this country even as I speak. Would it be possible for us to look at a past... I didn't know what I was going to say after that.
So that whistle tells us that 60 seconds have elapsed, and whoever's speaking then gains that extra point, and it was Paul Merton. So you won't be surprised to know that he's in the lead at the end of that round. Miles Jupp, will you begin the next round? And the subject is bowling a maiden over. 60 seconds as usual, starting now.
Bowling a maiden over is a specific cricket term which does not apply to the act of throwing a ball so that it actually fells a lady, nor does it refer to the idea of actually delivering a late...
Giles challenge.
Repetition of actually.
Actually, yes.
Oh, harsh challenge.
Well, a little ungentlemanly, I thought, Giles.
I agree.
I would say, Miles.
Not quite cricket.
Giles, the correct challenge.
How many seconds did I manage? Just out of
You
just
had
out of my
11 seconds?
11, that is... Well, that's a cricketing number. I'm happy with that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. But Giles, you've got 49 seconds on bowling a maiden over, starting now.
When I was a member of the House of Commons cricket team, Anne Widdecombe, that interesting cross between Danny DeVito and Margaret Rutherford, was our wicket-keeper. And I'm proud to say that I actually successfully bowled this maiden over. She fell splat, and that wonderful, amusing, slightly lopsided bosom of of ours lay upon the ground, and my ball landed right between the crevice. It was an exciting moment for both of us. Not since Anton had swept her off her feet, taken her over his shoulder out to the green room, had I had such an exciting moment with a beautiful lady as it was that particular day.
Miles' challenge.
Deviation, I think, because the
No, I
idea...
didn't get that far. It crossed my mind, but I held back.
I imagine it was very high on your to-do list, Giles. No, when you say since Anton, of course, that is more recent than that Anton was sweeping her around than you, I believe, held a place in the House of Commons, which was when I was probably a teenager or younger.
That's my kind of challenge, and I rather admire it. I've been looking at you, thinking, actually, look a little... could you be my love child? I mean, you sound like me, you look like me, and now you think like me. Give him the point.
Get yourself a good lawyer.
Giles, I was going to give him a point anyway.
Yeah,
I don't think you should now run the show as well.
No,
as take part in it.
I won't say another word. I'm just going to sit back and watch my boy having a good time.
So,
I don't think it's fair to expect me to speak. I'm very flustered.
Miles, you only have 14 seconds available. You've got a point, of course, and bowling a maiden over starting now.
It used to be the case that bowling a maiden over was something that required skill alone. Now, of course, you can ring someone you know in the team and demand that they bowl a maiden over.
Challenge, yes.
Oh, it's a bit slip over the word, sadly.
Yeah, it was hesitation.
I didn't think there was. I thought it was fluent. Extraordinary panache he's speaking.
Who will you adopt in the next round? Correct challenge, Paul. You have a point for that. You have 5 seconds still available. Bowling a maiden over starting now.
Although I never played cricket at school, I soon became a fan. I remember seeing the Oval for the first time. Ooh, that was close.
Paul Merton was then speaking as a whistle win, gained that extra point. And Lisa, we'd like you to begin the next round.
OK.
And this subject can be taken more than one way. I'm a bit nervous about it, actually. Cobblers. So will you talk on the subject of cobblers? 60 seconds starting now.
There's nothing I like better than a man with a couple of skills. One of them I'm a fan of is, of course, cobbling. Up by me in the Arsenal area of London, and I did move there for the gag, there's a cobbler's who provides me with such glorious services that he has my undying love forever. Last year, he lengthened the strap on my handbag and has made what was quite an unusual form of carrying stuff in, a papoose type thing, which, incidentally, I'd bought in Lisbon, just to be flash. He made that absolute... Oh, I said he made.
Giles' challenge.
Hesitation.
Yeah, but that's only because you repeated something.
Yeah,
oh, darling, you shouldn't have let them know.
I know, I shouldn't, but my mind went into some sort of 60s dream sequence.
I know. You carried us with you. Right, Giles, a correct challenge, so you have the subject of cobblers, 23 seconds, and starting now.
As Miles could probably tell you, our family comes from Accrington in Lancashire. Where in that part of the world we have...
Miles'
I
challenge.
have no connections to the north of England.
my point, I was talking cobblers.
Oh, you wriggle on anything, wouldn't you? Right, so... Miles, a correct challenge. Well listened and lovely interruption too. And you have the subject of cobblers. 18 seconds are still available, starting now.
Cobblers is the nickname of the football team in Northampton because that is a town that is associated with the art of shoemaking. I was there doing a play once and bought myself a spectacular pair of Henry boots, which, as you know, are a kind of elasticated Henry, Giles.
Paul Challenge.
Repetition of Henry.
Henry, yes. You shouldn't play to your father-in-law there. Correct challenge, Henry. Right. 3 seconds on cobblers, Paul, starting now.
I watched a programme the other day about shoemaking. It was called Ultimate Cobblers, and it was the first person to be able...
Paul Merton was then speaking as the whistle went, gained that extra point. He's now in the lead, a strong lead, just ahead of Giles Brandreth and Miles Jupp and Lisa Tarbuck in that order. And Giles, we're back with you to begin. Oh, a nice historical question here. The wives of Henry VIII. Tell us something about them, starting now.
Well, this really is quite a challenge, Nicholas, because I recall that King Henry VIII had 6 wives, but repetition was certainly involved, because at least 2 of them had the same name. Catherine cannot now be repeated, unless I call her Kate. I
You needn't look like that, Giles. We all know the challenge.
Repetition of her.
One was spelled H-U-H and the other U-H. Yeah. But I agree, I'd take it.
I know, but it sounded exactly the same.
If it was my boy who interrupted, then well done him.
No, it wasn't. It was Paul Merton.
Oh.
Right.
I'm afraid I've never been formally recognised by Giles.
You claim parentage to anybody to get a point. So, no.
That's it.
So, Paul, a correct challenge, and you have the wives of Henry VIII. There are 45 seconds starting now.
The wives of Henry VIII. Let's go through them one by individual. There was, of course, Catherine of Aragon. I think, as the name suggests, she was probably from somewhere in Spain. And then who should come next along the line? It was none other than Anne Boleyn. Famously, she didn't have a complete set of fingers and thumbs, or was it one too many? I can't remember. I've said 1 3 times.
These are challenge.
I think you're thinking of Queen Elizabeth, aren't you, with the extra finger?
Didn't Anne Boleyn have an extra finger?
Anne Boleyn had an extra one.
Yeah, she had an extra finger.
Extra little finger.
Yeah.
Did she? Like Jake the Peg?
Yeah.
Did she?
Yeah. We wouldn't be talking about it otherwise.
So have you got a challenge within the rules of just a minute?
Well, I thought it was deviation, which in fact it is, strictly speaking. But
It's a devious...
I'll have to pass, won't I?
You'll have to pass, darling.
Yeah.
Paul has another point, and he has 25 seconds to continue on the wives of Henry VIII, starting now.
I remember very well the television programme that was made in the early 1970s, perhaps with Keith Michelle as King Henry VIII. And what a magnificent performance it was. Each one of his wives throughout the entire 6 episodes had a programme devoted to themselves. I think we've already talked about the first 2, which gives me the opportunity to mention 3, 4, 5 and 6.
And Lisa, you chant.
Repetition of 6.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, listen, Lisa, and you've cleverly got in with 1 second to go.
After I went through all that rubbish for no reason at all.
You worked hard all the way through, and Lisa's got in 1 second. The wives of Henry VIII, Lisa, starting now.
At Hampton Court, the most...
So Lisa Tarbuck was speaking, then the whistle went, gained that extra point, and she's moved forward. She's equal in points with Miles Jupp in 3rd place, but only 1 point behind Giles Brandreth, 2 or 3 behind Paul Merton. But the points, I think, are only secondary. It's the fun they give, isn't it? Oh, what a weak laugh that was. I wish I hadn't said it. Paul, we'd like you to begin the next round. The subject is, what a strange one, having a good time in the desert. Think of something to say if you can. 60 seconds starting now.
Many years ago, I was at the Edinburgh Festival and a gentleman came up to me and said, I heard you on Just a Minute during the summer. I didn't think that was particularly remarkable. And then he said, I was crossing the Gobi Desert in a Jeep and he'd listened via the World Service. Now, of course, we are not on that august institution, but you can still, in the desert, make a great deal of fun. Befriend a vulture. That's what they're there for. They may look upon you as potential carry-on, but I say carry on regardless. You shouldn't let them see you that way. What are you groaning at? I'm making it off the top of my head, for God's sake. Oh, I should have said that, shouldn't I? They put me off.
Lisa, you challenge.
I was just helping them out while the audience were putting Mr. Merton off.
Yeah.
Right. So hesitation. Right,
Hesitation.
Lisa.
Yeah.
Correct challenge, and you have 29 seconds. Having a good time in the desert, starting now.
I was enjoying a programme with Mr. Bear Grylls on it the other day, who was having a wonderful time in the desert. He started his search, or in fact journey, looking for some water. And as he went, he distilled all sorts of skills to the viewer, one of which was sucking the moisture out of a lizard which he'd bitten the head off. Now, I'm not a great advocate of this sort of behaviour, least of all going back to the hamster with Freddie Starr. That was a nasty moment.
So, Lita Tarbuck was speaking then as the whistle went and gained that all-important extra point. And she has moved forward. Yes, she's now in second place behind Paul Merton. And who's going to be in the next round? Miles Jupp, it's your turn. Right.
Good luck.
Strangers on a Train. Tell us something about that subject, or that film, if you like. 60 seconds starting now.
I consider anybody else who is travelling on the same train as me to be a stranger, even if they are a close friend or relative. I think everybody should be completely silent when travelling on trains, especially if they're in the quiet coach. You shouldn't be allowed to use computers or carry children or eat apples or crisps noisily, nor should the people who run the rail balls.
Giles, you've challenged your love child.
I know. Because there was that hesitation.
There was a hesitation. Giles, there's 40 seconds still available. Tell us something about Strangers on a Train starting now.
This story is going to astound Miles because it is going to lead to his conception. The time was when I travelled on a train.
You've been challenged, Paul. What is it?
Repetition of going.
Going, yes. Well, listen, Paul. And you've got 35 seconds. You tell us something about Strangers on a Train starting now.
One of Alfred Hitchcock's greatest films, made in the early 1950s for the Warner Brothers Studios. It was based on the first novel by Patricia Highsmith, who went on to become a magnificent crime writer throughout the rest of her career. Strangers on a Train, black and white, monochrome, call it how you will. Its lack of colour did not... For those Hungarian viewers.
Giles, you challenged.
Hesitation.
Hesitation. There's 17 seconds still available, Giles. It's Strangers on a Train starting now.
She sat down in front of me. She was indeed a stranger on this train, looking remarkably like the young Ingrid Bergman. That was not her name, though. Jupp turned out to be the surname that this woman had. Her hair flame red, her eyes the colour of beautiful azure pearls. And then I kissed her. I'm sorry. I dipped the pearls in an azure colour that I've got at home.
Yeah.
You needn't wriggle out of it.
No, because I worry about it. Even when I've won, I worry.
I wish to wriggle out of it because she was already called Jupp, which obviously isn't my mother's maiden name. So
No,
you're suggesting.
This is the terrible thing.
This is awful
Oh,
news.
God. But your dad...
If I had to choose anyone to hear this news from, Giles, as well, with in the best will in the world, it simply wouldn't be you.
And can I say he's been
It would be Nicholas Parsons.
I want you to know he's been a good dad in his own way. Mr. Jupp, you've done your best over the years.
Reverend Doctor.
Oh, God, Lord. Really?
Yes, you disgrace.
Reverend Doctor.
Right, so what's the situation now at the end of that round? Well, Paul Merton is still in the lead. He's 2 points ahead of Giles Brandreth. Oh, no, it's Lisa Tarbuck who's in second place. 1 point behind Paul. And Giles is 1 point behind Lisa. And Miles Jupp's bringing up a magnificent rear. I'm sorry, I could have said that better, couldn't I? Right, let's get on with the show. Giles Brandreth, it's your turn to begin.
Oh, Lord.
And the subject is... Oh, we're going to get something here. My Holiday Romance. 60 seconds starting now.
Her name was Doris, the beach was sandy, it was Broadstairs in August. And the fun we had as I rode her. She was, of course, a donkey. And the year was 1956, my first holiday romance. Oh, those glorious golden days of one's youth, when you could fall in love with an animal and nobody thought there was anything perverse about it. Now, when it happens to me and I fancy the beagle next door, they're on the phone to the RSPCA. What can you do? Holiday romances are incredibly dangerous.
In answer to your question, what can you do? Leave animals alone is what you can do. It's outrageous. There's people's pets watch this show, aren't they, Nicholas?
Yes, I know, but they don't get the jokes, though, the pets
They don't, no, they don't.
They just sit there.
No.
They're fascinated by you, I know that.
Are they?
Yes.
Oh, really?
I don't know why they dribble at the mouth when you come on.
Thank you. Something about making a domestic pet drool that somehow has been top of my list of achievements.
Paul, we did enjoy the interruption.
Yeah.
We got a lovely laugh,
yeah.
so we give you a bonus point for that. Giles was interrupted,
yes, he
so
was.
he gets a point for an incorrect challenge, and you
and
have...
Miles gets the subject.
Miles turns out to be the subject.
Giles, 30 seconds. My holiday romance starting now.
My holiday romance truly started at Victoria Station when I climbed onto this train and saw this extraordinary young woman. You probably know her name, I won't repeat it. She was very beautiful, I must say, and would look like somebody in this room if you could see her now, page by page. Oh, no!
Oh, yes. You see how easy it is to trip up in this game. So, Paul, you challenge first.
Repetition of page.
Yes.
Yes.
So, Paul, you've got 15 seconds. Tell us something about my holiday romance starting now.
Holiday romance, there I was on one of the Greek islands. I looked up and across the horizon I saw a figure coming towards me. She was beautiful, long golden hair, magnificent arms, a great big... How long have we got?
I think he's going out with the orangutan I had the dalliance with. These long golden arms.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
But Miles, I think it was your buzzer that
so
went
sorry.
first.
Was it?
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah, I pressed it for you, boy.
Oh, did you? Right, yeah, OK.
So, you've got
I'll
in
take that.
with half a second to go.
Yeah.
And it's my holiday romance starting now.
I, too, was on a Greek island because I was on Cos.
Paul, it's your turn to begin. The subject is, toasts. Tell us something about toasts in this game, starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to imagine you all have an imaginary glass as we toast Mr. Nicholas Parsons' chairmanship of Just a Minute for the last 45 years, never missed a programme, over 800 recordings. I say, Nicholas, and so do us, well done, and here's to the next 800. Which is also a clever way of extending the time of the minute.
Giles challenged you, actually.
Only a repetition of Nicholas. But I kept
Yes.
it until after the applause.
This is true.
Yes, it
Yeah,
was.
repetition of Nicholas, yes.
Yeah, but can you have too much repetition, Nicholas?
800 programmes.
Well done, thank you. A bonus point for your flattery.
No.
Thank you very much.
No.
Giles, a correct challenge, and you have 39 seconds. Tell us something about toasts in this game, starting now.
Your Majesty, Royal Highness, my lords, ladies, gentlemen, this evening I am honoured to propose the toast of fatherhood. What an extraordinary, proud thing it is to be a papa, and to be confronted for the...
That's not a repetition of pa, is it?
No, it's all one word.
Papa.
Papa is one word.
Oh, it's one word, is it?
Yes, it is.
So it's nice to hear from me, wasn't it?
So, Giles, an incorrect challenge. Another point to you. 26 seconds still available. Toasts starting now.
Of all the toasts I like the most, it's the wonderful one that's slightly burnt with the baked beans on top, and then a fish finger, and then a fried egg. I know that
Paul challenge.
Should
cholesterol
have a
is...
few thens, one after the other.
Yeah,
quite quickly.
then.
Oh, yes. No, I can't argue with it. I wouldn't argue with it. Don't argue with it.
No, so keep quiet for a moment. Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude.
That's okay.
Because I'm very fond of you. Right. Paul. Yeah, but not in that way. Paul, correct challenge. You have 18 seconds. Toasts starting now.
When I think of all the great toasts that have been passed through the remarkable century that we have just endured and are still surviving through now, if we look at the great Winston Churchill on the eve of the Second World War, he was no longer at that point in power, but he knew this has got nothing to do with toasts.
I know. And Lisa,
I'm coming in there. There was a light deviation.
Absolutely.
I was trying to keep hold of you.
I know, I didn't know where I was going with
I
that.
know.
Slippy.
Complete deviation.
Yeah,
Yes.
Slippy subject.
Yeah.
Right. So, Lisa, you got in with 1 second to go.
Touch.
You're getting sharp at this game, my darling. 1 second on toast, starting now.
Before I left for this job, the secret...
So Lisa Tarbuck was speaking as a whistle when gained that extra point. She's moved forward. She's equal with Giles in second place. They're both trailing Paul by 3 points, and Miles' jump is... Oh. Who's for tea? That little tinkle tells us that we're into the last round. You couldn't care less, could you? But Miles, it's your turn to begin.
Right.
Oh, what I keep in my pocket. 60 seconds, starting now.
What I keep in my pocket completely depends on which day of the week it is. On Mondays, I have things that are to do with food, such as eggs, ham, cheese, pizza, game, pate, beef.
Giles, you've challenged.
These pockets are just so huge that we've now got to the stage of deviation. When he got to the game, I really thought... I mean, you know, I met him on a Monday, and I tell you, he's not wearing that anyway, so it's deviation.
How do we know that he hasn't got these huge pockets
Yeah.
that he puts lots and lots of food into?
Yeah, gamekeeper's
Because
pockets.
Can I... Yeah. Very good.
What do you think they wear?
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Quite right.
And say that you still have the subject, and there are 45 seconds available. What I keep in my pocket starting now.
Tuesday is DIY day, pocket-wise. Hammers, tongs, tape measures, nails.
Slight hesitation.
Slight hesitation. You couldn't keep it up, could
No,
you?
I- Bless you for saying. No.
Listing sounds so easy in this game, but I assure you, it's very difficult. Go home and try it. Don't do it now, because it's a waste of time. We want you to concentrate yourself. It was a great challenge, Paul. What I keep in my pocket, 39 seconds, starting now.
What I keep in my pocket, I have apricots, bananas, cart horses, dirty, evil... Oh, I can't say that. I have other...
Yes, Miles.
That was a hesitation.
Absolutely.
Not hesitate. Well, a
As a
cart
result
horse
of
in
good
your...
manners, I have to say.
A cart horse in your pocket?
Well, it could have been a keyring cart horse, couldn't it?
Yeah.
No, he couldn't.
I've got very big pockets and very small cart horses.
Miles, a correct challenge. You have 31 seconds still about what I keep in my pocket, starting now.
Wednesday in my pockets. I keep flags of all nations. English, Scottish, Welsh, Portuguese, Irish, Dutch, French, German, Czech Republican, Slovakian, Cornish.
Oh, Paul challenge.
Well, there's a bit of a hesitation.
There was a bit of hesitation.
No, indeed. Yes.
Listing is great fun, but
They're
it's very
ganging up on you.
No, I appreciate
Put
it.
on.
I'm simply having a go.
You did very well. You kept going for a good 15 seconds on that list. You should have changed from the list to something else. But, Paul, you've got in with 14 seconds to go on what I keep in my pocket, starting now.
What I keep in my pocket is a souvenir from my days as a child. It is a simple toy. It's a Yo Ditto. And what it is one of those things that goes up and down like that on a piece of string. And it was given to me on the occasion of my 7th birthday. Yo Ditto.
And only an experienced player of the game could come out with Yo Ditto.
I suddenly thought of Yo-Yo and realised I had to...
No, well done, Paul. So you were speaking to the whistle when again that extra point. Let me give you the final score. Miles Jupp, who's not played the game as much as the others, did extraordinarily well. He did finish in 4th place, but it was a very good 4th place. Your contribution's the important thing, not the points. And equal in 2nd place with Giles Brandreth and Lisa Tarbuck. So out in the lead was Paul Merton, so we say he is the winner today. So, it really leaves me to say thank you to these 4 fine players of the game. So it's goodbye from this delightful audience here at the Television Centre. It's goodbye from me, Nicholas Parsons. Do join us again the next time we take to your screens and we play Just a Minute!
Well, I've got just 15 seconds to tell you that Eggheads follow in just a minute here on BBC Two, and then Black Forest Ghetto as you've never seen before. A taste of Germany on the Hairy Bikers vacation in an hour, and time's up.